Oh, sign me up for this right now. Right now, sign me up for a day when airlines are making people pay more based on their weight. What are you laughing at in there? It's time to do it.
I mean, if you take up 2 seats, you should pay for 2 seats.
I agree. Thank you for that. Now, I'm going to put a caveat in all this and say the airlines will probably abuse this in some way, shape, or form to just nickel and dime everybody. But the fact that I have been the guy at the airport emptying out my wife's suitcase because there's too much makeup in the suitcase to get it below 50 pounds. Sorry, sir, this is 51 and a half pounds. Would you like to remove some items or get charged another $73? I'll remove some items with 3 little kids sitting next to me throwing a fit. But you know what? I want to save you guys that pound and a half, so I'm happy to do it. I've been that guy. It's a joke. It's literally a sick and twisted joke that these airlines do that. Yet I will sit next to somebody whose body rolls are falling all over me, and I'm feeling the sweat dripping between those rolls as I fall into the aisle. But good thing my bag isn't 51 and a half pounds. It is ridiculous, and it is long overdue for these airlines to say, you know what? If you can't fit in one seat, you cannot inconvenience everybody else. You cannot make it untenable for those sitting next to you because of your own situation. And there will be a fee for that, just like we have for the bags. Now, my fear around all this is that the airlines won't know how to do it because for them, it won't be about the comfort of the customer. It will be just about how much money they can make off of this. But to me, it's very simple. To me, you have to simply look at it and you have to say to yourself, okay, what's the best way to implement this? The best way to implement this, and this is going to be shameful to some of you, and you're going to think I'm joking. But hey, when you get on an airplane and you have a carry-on luggage, right? Mark's laughing because I think he thinks he knows where I'm going with this. When you have a carry-on luggage, what happens? You go on the airplane, and if they think your carry-on luggage is a little too big, they make you put that carry-on luggage into a little container to see if it's the right size. I want them stopping people in line to get on the plane. I want them to put them up, put their butts right into a chair, right in front of everybody, and if they don't fit comfortably in the chair, well, guess what? We're going to have to find another seat for you, okay? We're going to have a row where people get charged a little bit more, where there are fewer seats across that row, and you'll have to pay more. And then they'll stop nickel and diming those of us who have bags that are 51 and a half pounds. That's how this is going to go. Or if nothing else, you're going to have to sit these people next to each other. The notion that I've got to pay to be beyond uncomfortable sitting next to somebody that frankly does not fit in their seat. You might say that's mean. I say, why is that fair to me? I paid the same price as that person did to get the same amount of space, and I'm not getting it. So you know what? If it's going to take a little bit of shame to get the job done and make everybody comfortable, so be it.
And you can't take that extra baggage and put it under the seat in front of you or over the top.
No, you can't do that. You can't, no way, no how, can't do it. But I don't see how else we're going to clean this issue up. These airlines are a joke in terms of how they're run when it comes to these baggage fees. And they say, it's all about emissions. It's all about making sure we don't have the employees lifting more than 50 pounds. It's like, you know what? I understand that the weight thing, I say some of this tongue-in-cheek, is going to be ripe for lawsuits. You know and I know. There's going to be people out there saying, you can't possibly do this. Oh, my gosh, this is discrimination because being fat is not a choice. It's just how God made me. Okay, he might have made you big boned. No one got made to the point where they're falling over their seat onto somebody else. Okay? That's not how this works. So with that, I am here to start this. I am here to be the cheerleader for this from the airlines. And I'm also here to make sure their guardrails are appropriate because you know and I know, just like with Doge, I'm going to be the Democrats of Doge. I will come to the middle. I will work with the other side, and I will make sure this gets implemented in a responsible way. Okay, some of you getting a little sensitive on the text line here. 7:35, good morning. Happy Monday. The story we just shared that airlines are in the early stages of potentially considering weight-based fees where heavier passengers could end up paying more. I'm all for it. Text line, Pete, on your airline comments, I'm all for comfort. So let's add kids who can't stay in their seats or cry, whine, or are too loud. And be sure to add pregnant women and manspreading. That's pregnant people to you, sir. Come on, get with the times. Little bit different. Now, listen, you can't always control a crying child, and you don't know getting on that plane if that child's going to cry. You do know if you're going to fit in the seat. And as some of you know, it's the same thing when you go to an amusement park. I mean, they'll make sure that the bar can fit over your lap. That happens all the time. So if you put it in comparison to that, I'm just fine with it. Tim in the Northland, go ahead, my man.
Pete, you know, we're just missing the obvious here. There's other airline choices for these people. It's called UPS and FedEx. And if they can't get the plane off the tarmac, they can go ground. It just depends on if you have time for a few extra layovers with UPS or if you need to absolutely positively be there overnight with FedEx. But you're absolutely right on this issue. Thank you, man.
Oh, thank you very much there, Tim. Have a good day. Oh, gosh. Well, speaking of a good meal, our friends at Grandma's Catering brought in, what'd they bring in this morning, fellas? A little roast beef and green beans? Is that what I heard?
Yep. I've got beef and gravy and mashed potatoes.
All right.
Got some rolls that are good. And their desserts, outstanding. Lemon bar today.
Anything else, John? Geez, you working for him now?
Well, I get it for free, so might as well, right?
This is the first time I've ever had roast beef this early in the morning. I got to say, it's actually really good.
All right.
Really good.
Here's the deal. If you want Grandma's Catering to potentially cater your office lunch, go to our KCMO Talk Radio Facebook page, and you'll see it second post down. Enter to win lunch for $20 for your office right now on the KCMO Talk Radio Facebook page.
And I'm sure I'll be there.
Yeah, John, if you got 19 employees, John will be there as number 20.
20.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm going for seconds on the rolls.
Yeah, take
stuff.
it easy. Easy on the rolls there. Gosh, you guys haven't talked this much all morning. I get you going on Grandma's Catering.
Well, it's
Jeez.
something we know about. I got expertise in that.
That's true. That's true. Mayor Lucas was quoted in the New York Times this weekend. So the New York Times writes this piece headlined, "Frustrated Democrats urge leaders to show more fight against Trump." Subtitle, "Voters, activists, and even some governors like Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania are growing exasperated with congressional Democrats' resistant approach or restrained approach." So Lucas gets quoted at the very end of the article here. And they write, in Kansas City, Missouri, Mayor Quinton Lucas, a Democrat, said that many voters had grown inured by Mr. Trump's outlandish statements. Breaking through, he said, requires showing Americans how decisions in Washington are affecting their neighbors, rather than simply pledging to fight. He referred to the cutting of a grant for a beloved urban farming initiative in Kansas City. That's, of course, what we talked about last week with the Ivanhoe neighborhood, losing some funding for its farmers market. How do we determine it's a beloved urban farming initiative?
That's interesting.
What makes it beloved? Is there polling that's been done on the Ivanhoe grant in the neighborhood? Or is it just beloved because the mayor says it is and the New York Times wants it to be beloved? I don't know the answer. I'm kind of asking somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but I would wonder what qualifies it as a beloved urban farming initiative.
I was curious about it because this to me seems like a case of the last one in, first one out here. It's not the only community garden in the metro. I just did how many are in Jackson County. I've got several in Kansas City, Blue Springs, Green Valley. I know where the one in Grandview is. So these initiatives exist either with or without federal funding.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason Ivanhoe can't continue on without.
Oh, they can do whatever they want.
So
no one's saying they can't
we're not
operate.
Closing down all the gardens.
No.
Etc.
Nope. They just got this in October. That's when this grant started from the federal government for the Ivanhoe Neighborhood Council to try to grow, no pun intended, this farmer's market. But the notion that, well, this is all about, as the mayor says here to the New York Times, quote, when we talk about that garden, the garden run by a black woman at the core of our city who is helping make sure that mothers have food, people are like, that's screwed up. Okay. I said this to the mayor last week, and I'll play the clip for you here. There's an Aldi right around the corner. You want to talk about good deals? Aldi's got plenty of great deals. The notion that mothers and their children are going hungry without the farmer's market that isn't even open all year round, I'll add. So if these mothers are getting fed by the farmer's market, what are they doing the months the market's not open? Not eating? Going hungry? You see, there's not a lot of common sense being used here in all this. It's all about feels. It's all about let's make up this mom who's only feeding her children because of the farmer's market, and Donald Trump and Elon Musk are suddenly making it so that person can't eat, even though the market's not open all year round. So how else is the mother eating? And there's an Aldi 2 blocks down the road. I mean, please, here's the mayor last week, Google Maps, and there's an Aldi right there at Prospect and 39th Street. You can get a lot of healthy food there. I mean, is it really essential? I mean, is it the essential things that we should be doing as a federal government?
I think that's a fair question. I think what I would say first to defend the program, that is a grant that was passed pursuant to a law, passed pursuant to a bunch of Congress people and voters who voted them in, who said that was a priority of government. There are people right now, Pete, and I deal with this in local government. I got a lot of people who call me and say, what are you doing to make sure homeless people get off the streets in the winter? But there is a very real and 200-year legacy in this city of the fact that city government wasn't really in that business, right? We had roads, we had a police department, public works, fire, and a few other things, and collected some taxes. Is government doing too much? Maybe. I think this is what the political discourse is about. Where I would disagree with the current administration is this is the political discourse through checks and balances and the different legislative and executive prerogatives. And that's how we got here. It's not just that you can singularly slash it through some sort of unitary executive.
Well, the mayor notes there that Kansas City was never in the business of, doing things like funding farmers markets. Yeah, because that's not what government's supposed to do. If government's funding farmers markets, it's got too much money. It's got too much of your money. The role of government is, yes, protect its people, Army, Navy, branches, of course, of the military. On a local level, police and fire. Do the roads, do the bridges, have some programs to make sure people are not living in poverty, so to speak. Yes, I think that safety nets are important. And that's kind of it. We don't have money for farmers markets in Kansas City. We're $36 trillion in debt.
We had some of our financial institutions around town waving their DEI flags and things like that. How about if you fold that department and then fund Ivanhoe?
Yeah.
That would actually help some people.
Yeah. Yeah. If the city really wants to be helping out with that stuff.
I mean, that's how you help the community and help the people you profess to want to help.
Of course. But if the federal government can just print the money and no one actually has to budget real dollars for it, they'd rather do it that way. Because unlike the federal government, cities actually have to be able to pay their bills. And that's where you just get on this federal government gravy train. You print the money, no one's accountable, and God forbid you take something out. It's like, oh my goodness, how are we going to survive? The same way we did before the grant was received 4 months ago.